homeschooling with toddlers. That can definitely seem like a daunting task and can be a little scary at times, but today we're going to be showing you 10 tips and ideas that you can use as you homeschool with toddlers in your house. So let's get started. All right, so the first tip, I'm going to be honest, I still struggle with sometimes. The first tip is going to be give them attention first. First part of the day, focus attention on your toddler. If their love tank is full, then they're not going to be feeling as left out when they see you spending time with their older siblings. The reason I have trouble with this is because a lot of times I'll think, okay, let me get the kids started with school first, the older ones, and then I'll come back and I'll spend time with my, youngest. But that doesn't always happen. I mean, once you get the day started, it just flies by. And we have so much to do throughout the day, especially with the older kids. So while my intentions are great to spend time with my little one later, I'm gonna be honest, a lot of times it doesn't happen. So spending time with your little one at the beginning of the day, whether it's snuggles with them, just sitting on the couch and holding them and talking to them, or maybe it's reading a book with them. Maybe it's letting them help you make breakfast in the morning. Maybe it's playing games together. Just something to kind of connect and to show them attention, again, to fill that love tank up so that way they know they are noticed. And then that kind of helps them be a little more independent and a little less needy throughout the day. So I would encourage you, show them they matter, give them some attention, then start your schoolwork if you can. All right, my next tip is to include them when possible. I realize they are not going to be able to be a part of everything you do, but for our 2-year-old, when we do our morning time, we have morning menus. She's learning the pledges. She's learning how to count. We made her own little menu folder that she can look at. She sings the song with us. She prays with us. Now, I don't make this a have to. She has to sit down. But we try to invite her over, and if she wants to join us, that's a great time for her to learn, and then she's busy while doing that with us, and so it's less of a distraction with her playing or asking for other things. So including her in that time is great. Then whenever my kids are sitting around doing their schoolwork, just pulling out a coloring page. She gets to do her homework or schoolwork just by coloring a page, maybe learning to trace and draw lines, anything that they can be a part of. I would say try to include them where possible. Not only does it help with distractions, but they really do learn a lot when they're little. All right, tip number 3 is special toys or busy bins that only come out during school time. You've probably heard this. It's a pretty common tip whenever you're having little kids, but something about the novelty of a new toy or a toy that they play with just once a week or just during school time, it really does help them stay attentive to it more. It keeps their attention because it's something exciting. It's not something that they just see lying around the playroom all day long. So we personally have busy bins. I'm not gonna go too much into that because I actually just posted a video. I will link it below that you can check out that shows exactly what's in all of our busy bins that we pull out one day a week. She has a different busy bin that keeps her going, and she's excited because we even call it her learning games, that she gets to do her schoolwork, but it keeps her busy at the same time while I get to work with the older kids. All right, tip number 4 is probably one of my favorites. This is the buddy system. Now, this is when you have older siblings that are old enough and you believe are responsible enough to spend time with your younger toddler. And that way, like while I'm working with my 7-year-old on his math or on his reading or things that need a little more one-on-one attention, I try to use those blocks where my preschooler can come and play with my toddler. It helps develop sibling relationships. They get to spend time with just sisters, just the two, playing together and developing that relationship. Then it teaches my preschooler more responsibility because she's in charge of watching her. And sometimes I'll even have her help my toddler with an activity or teach her colors or, numbers, things that she's already learned. She feels a sense of responsibility because she's getting to teach her younger sibling. My 5-year-old's getting ready to start kindergarten next year. I'm gonna have lots of times where my 7-year-old can stop, take a break, he won't complain about that, and go spend time with his younger sibling and teach her some things, read her books. It'll be great. But the younger student loves the attention. The older is getting to learn responsibility, and it's just great all around. Buddy system is definitely a win for us. Tip number 5 is to go outside when possible. A change in scenery can do wonderful things for your homeschool, not just for your toddler, but for your older kids as well. And so for some reason, I've noticed that, at least for us, our 2-year-old is a little more independent whenever we're outside. She seems to want to be more curious about the nature around her. She likes being active and going up and down the slide or drawing with sidewalk chalk. Those things keep her occupied. And so just being outside really does help with the distractions. And so I don't know if your little kids are the same. I feel like a lot of kids enjoy being outside. So I would encourage you, for everybody's sake in the family, because it really does help out, try to get outside when you can, and it definitely helps when you have a toddler. Tip number 6 is to use snack time and nap time. Those two glorious times of the day. I love my toddler, don't get me wrong, but sometimes mama's ready for nap time too. And so like right now, I am doing this video when my daughter is taking a nap. Otherwise, this wouldn't be happening. And so trying to use nap time to the best that you can. Thankfully, my 2.5-year-old still takes 1 nap a day. And so that time is when we try to do normally more one-on-one time, or I can do things like my videos, editing, things that take a little more concentration on my part. And snack time, just putting them up if they're small enough in their high chair, keeping their hands busy with little snacks. It can keep them busy for a little while. Goldfish crackers, whatever you want to give them for a snack. It just the time to eat it, and so they're enjoying that. Or maybe it's like taking breakfast time or lunchtime to do things. You can do your morning circle time while everybody's eating breakfast. Something about them having their hands and their mouths busy, then they can even be more focused on what you're doing, and it's a lot more quiet, so you can get more of the things done that need more attention in your house. All right, number 7 can be a little controversial sometimes, but we personally use screen time in moderation. We are trying to make sure that we don't do it all the time, but screen time, I believe it can be beneficial. For my 2-year-old, there is learning shows that she can watch. They have learning apps where, we've used ABC Mouse before, where she can play the games even on her toddler level. They have a toddler level with, easier questions for her. So I am not saying use that for your entire school time. But after you've tried all the other things, if you still need something to fill in the gap, I personally, in moderation, like to use screen time. All right, tip number 8 is to be flexible. If you've been a parent for any length of time, you've probably realized that you have to be flexible with kids, especially little ones. And so I encourage you to be flexible with your schedule. Maybe you think that schooling needs to be a certain amount of hours, just like the public school, and you need to start at the same time and end at the same time. Don't worry about that. Just do what works best for your family. As long as they're learning, to be honest, it normally takes us a lot less time than it does at the public school to get our stuff done. Maybe your schedule needs to look different. Maybe your toddler needs enough attention to where read alouds or things like that need to help in at bedtime. After you've already put your toddler down, before your older child goes to sleep, you can sit with them and read them a chapter from the book. Or maybe when your spouse comes home from work, they can take that time to sit and play with the other kids, your younger kids, while you do math or reading with your older child. Or they could do the math and reading, and you can play with the younger kids. It might need to be later in the evening. I don't know what your family schedule looks like, but sometimes you have to change things up whenever you have a toddler, and that's okay. Just do whatever works best for your family. Don't compare it to everyone else, but do what works best for you. All right, tip number 9 is to see the bigger picture. Probably right now, your homeschool feels like the most important thing. And I'm sorry, but it's not. Your kids are the most important thing. Your toddler is only going to be a toddler for a little period of time. Your kids, they will learn for the rest of their lives. So don't push your toddler to the side just so that way you can focus on homeschooling. Maybe your toddler, they are just having a really rough day. You just might need to stop and be like, okay guys, we just need to stop for the day, or maybe we need to stop for an hour and just take a break. Tend to your toddler. And you know what, the bigger picture, sometimes your kids, they just need to see that life doesn't always go your way. By seeing all these interruptions, some people think, oh, but my toddler is constantly interrupting us, or I'm constantly have to stop and I can't, stay focused on one thing. Sometimes our kids need to see that. Our kids need to see how we act when we're interrupted. So that way they can know how to act whenever they're interrupted. We're modeling this for them. They need to see that things don't always revolve around them. Sometimes their little sibling's gonna need a little bit of attention. But just remember to see the bigger picture. Your kids are what's important. Homeschooling, yes, it's good and it's fulfilling and they need to learn. But remember, it's about your kids and your relationship with them. And finally, tip number 10 is to give yourself grace. Just know that this season is only a season. It's only for a small period of time. I love my kiddos, but sometimes days can be a little rough, and I end the day thinking, oh, my goodness, I did it today. I yelled. I got so upset and yelled at my toddler because she just wouldn't leave us alone. We had to get that math done. Or maybe, you forgot and you didn't spend enough time with your toddler because you were so focused on your older kids. Or maybe you didn't get the schoolwork done because your toddlers, maybe they're going through a sickness and they just wanted to be held all day. It's okay. It's okay. Just know that your kids love you. And I'm sure you love your kids. Just do what's best for your kids and it will all be okay. Give yourself grace. And I know it's easy to get upset and discouraged, but I want to read you 2 quick scriptures that God has used to talk to me. The first one is 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9. It says, "And he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you. My strength is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, most gladly, I will rather boast in my infirmities than the power of Christ may rest upon me." And it just reminds me, in another version, it says that in our weakness, we can boast in him because in our weakness, we can see his strength. And he knows, he says, my grace is sufficient for you. Give yourself some grace. God gives you grace. Why can't you give it to yourself? Give yourself some grace and know that he loves you. And then in Lamentations 3, it's verses 22 through 23. It says, "Through the Lord's mercies we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness." Every morning, there's new mercies for you. Every morning, he gives you a new chance. Just know that yes, it can be hard to homeschool with toddlers in the house. I know that. But just know, when you lay your head on your pillow each night, your kids love you. And as long as you are doing your best for them, things aren't always going to go exactly as you planned, but show them how much you truly love them. And as long as they feel loved, that's what is important. And they will learn throughout the day. Trust me, they pick up on more than you think. They will truly learn throughout the day. I hope these 10 tips were useful to you. If they were, I would like to show you those busy bins if you would be interested in using them. I'm going to actually put that video right here. It goes through all of our busy bins, showing you what's inside and how we use them for our toddler during our homeschool time. I hope you find that useful to you. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.